Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us on the GR Rideshare Adventures podcast. We got an interview with Syed from Safr Rideshare. Hi, Syed. How you doing?
Hi, Jason. Hi, Peter. How are you?
Doing good.
We're doing great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Safr, as it's a new rideshare company, where it's based out of, what cities it's in now, and we'll kind of go from there.
So Safr is a rideshare company focused on women empowerment through safe transportation. The idea is simply to provide a right choice to women and children and elderly who do not feel comfortable riding with other rideshare companies which are out there. We are new, of course, much smaller, but our mission is around safety, around more background checks, around making sure that we can provide a better service and a more reliable service to women and children and elderly. We are right now out of Orlando, Florida. We are growing over there in Southern Florida region. But since COVID-19 pandemic hit, of course, like any other rideshare, we are in a holding pattern. And we hope that once things open up, we'll be moving much faster.
Okay. I definitely have to ask, you talk about women empowerment, but you're the CEO. And you're a man. So what do people say about that when you're kind of like pitching to maybe some investors or those kind of things?
So it's $1 million question. And from day one, I've been getting this question. When we talk about women empowerment, I think it's not the issue only for women. It's the issue for men and other genders who ever want to get involved with. When you look at the thousands and thousands of years that women have been put in a certain framework where they're expected to do certain things, they're expected to meet certain requirements and so on and so forth, when anybody can do it, any gender can do those tasks. I feel like it's a job for all the genders to come together. And that's why we have a lot of women in our board. We have a lot of women in our board of advisors, in our team. And of course, we are hiring as we're growing to make sure that we can get more women on our platform. So I don't think that, like, if we talk about even any empowerment for any segment of the society, I think we have to come as all Americans together to make sure that we can provide a platform for them. So it's equal rights we are talking about, that, okay, whatever they want to do, they can do it, and they can do it safely. And we are associated with women as a brother, as a sister, as husbands, as sons, and whatnot. So our job is to make sure that we can do our part in empowering those young women.
Okay. Well, that was a good elevator answer. You obviously have been asked that a bunch. I appreciate that. What do you guys do that's maybe extra from the other rideshare companies as far as background checks and those kind of things?
So first of all, we do background checks, detailed background check. But where we go a little bit further is that we meet with every single driver, not just at the time of onboarding, but we continue to meet with them on a monthly basis. We feel like they're joining a community with us. They're part of our community. They're part of the sisterhood. And if you look at the statistics of other rideshare companies, around 14 to 20% to 25% of their drivers are women. Whereas with us, it's more than 90% women. And we welcome all genders. We have men, we have LGBTQ people who want to join us from whatever background they are, they join us. But still, women come to us more. And then we make sure that we make them feel comfortable by meeting with them, interviewing them, helping them understand what we are, who we are, and what they're becoming part of. And then we continue to remain in touch with them, because we feel like it's not the one time or one touch kind of system that other rideshare companies have created, where there is no soul left in the system. People come and people go. And all of them are racing towards autonomous, which they call it, cushioning their profit, quote unquote. We don't feel that way. We feel like humans are still important and will always be important, and they need to be respected. They need to be cared for. They need to be happy in doing what they're doing. And we feel that's why we have a program, Captain's Program, through which we are constantly in touch with every single driver on monthly basis. We throw small little functions and parties and we meet with them. In addition to that, of course, the background check comes in. Then we monitor all rides within our system to make sure that if something is happening unusual for the driver and the rider, so we can act proactively to safeguard that situation.
Okay.
You mentioned that you do, the one-on-one interviews and, more contact. Have you found that that's affected your staying rate for drivers? Do you feel like they stay longer than other companies?
That's a great question. That's really a great question. The platform stickiness is very important for us. We know that with other rideshare companies, around 13% is the iteration rate where the drivers come, drivers go. And actually, according to some of the SEC filing I read, the active rider only takes one ride per quarter, if I'm not mistaken, which is very, very low, very, very low. With us, the situation is completely different. Our drivers, majority of our drivers stick around. We create that bondage between the rider and the driver that woman driver would make sure to meet the need of that woman rider who wants to wake up early in the morning and provide services wherever she wants to provide. And if she's putting bread on her table, that she feels secure in doing that. Or if she's working late at night, then she needs to be picked up and brought home. So all of those aspects we want to manage at a grassroots level. We really don't want to create a company where it's just a corporate going through a bunch of people making profit. And there's nothing wrong with profit. And of course, companies make profits and all that. But still, we have to care about our target audience and the people that we are serving. And that's extremely important for us at every level.
That's good to hear. Especially, I think that's the number one complaint is you feel like Uber or Lyft don't care about the drivers. When I've been driving for 4 years, when I started out, the communication was good and, you just felt a little cared for. Now they just don't even care. So that's frustrating. And so I like that you're doing check-ins and you're having, Yeah, like for instance, Jason, for instance, if you're driving for us or any other company and finding out, hey, Jason, how you doing? Is there any problem that you're facing? What program would you like us to have that can help you better? What kind of feature would you like us to develop that can help your job better? Right. What kind of timings that you like so we can focus on marketing on those timings? And if you're going through some personal problems or some other problems that you want to share with us, and maybe we can help you in those problems, we want to come around and we want to make sure that we are extension of you. Okay. And other way around. 2 questions. 1, are you just in Orlando? And 2, how do your rates compare to the other companies? I know you need to be somewhat competitive, but I always feel that riders are willing to pay a little bit more for not so much better service, but maybe a safer service, or I don't know, just more comfortable with the company itself. So we are only in Orlando right now and growing in South Florida. And Orlando means Orlando and the suburbs, Kissimmee and other areas. We have done a survey with our riders, and you're absolutely right. Our riders were willing to pay more than the competition. We don't consider them a competition. We are a different choice. We are 10 to 15% higher than the competition, which is not huge, but we don't do surge pricing. We don't do unfair pricing where a single drop of rain means you have to pay 3 times the pricing, right? And I know it's good for the drivers, but our drivers still make more per hour because we charge more, plus 80% of our riders tip. Okay. Because they feel associated with our brand and they feel associated with the driver. They don't our goal is not to create that driver and the rider kind of relationship, but a community relationship. They want to hear your rider wants to hear your story, that you are a radio show host and you do other businesses as well, and you're a father, let's say, or you're a son, and you're going to college or something like that. And they want to relate to that, and they want to be able to reward you for the hard work that you're doing at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. or 5 a.m. at wee hours.
And people are very, very, very generous in that way. I mean, if you respect them and give them respect and create an environment of respect and community, then community comes together.
You said you're just in Orlando right now. What are your kind of goals for expansion as far as Florida or across the United States? Are you guys looking to be pretty aggressive, or not so much?
No, we are. Once this situation opens up and it clears out,
Sure.
we are looking at Southern Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami region, and then Dallas. Of course, Michigan is going to be another area that we would look into, because we know that a lot of people, especially with COVID-19 crisis, a lot of people are unemployed. They need a better solution. A lot of moms who are going to be very, very careful about the kids, about themselves, about how the kids are transported to school or after school activities. And I hope schools open up. And a lot of women overall, a lot of men also. I mean, none of us on the call would like to be in a situation where we feel unsafe, not just physically, but from health-wise as well. So we are, of course, moving into those markets very aggressively.
So as kind of a follow-up, do you find what is your, I guess, ideal situation for drivers that want to come aboard? Do you want them to be part-time or full-time, or do you welcome both?
Both. We have a captain's program. So the captain's program works in a way like, if you, Peter, would like to be our captain and you become our captain, not only you drive for us, but you help manage other drivers within your zip codes or other zip codes. You make sure that those drivers are okay. And if they want to drive part-time or if they want to drive full-time, you want to understand the needs and you want to create the demand with us for them. So we don't intend to have 1.5 million drivers or 10 million drivers and unhappy drivers. Mm-hmm. We would rather have less drivers, but happy drivers and happy riders. So our goal of happiness and satisfaction and safety, we want to meet those goals and benchmarks as we move from point A to point B.
One of the questions I had is it's kind of a two-part question. One, can you favorite a driver when you pair up with them? And then two, what prevents a guy that's super drunk choosing a woman driver? Where is that? Because I mean, we're all guys, right? We're all dirtbags. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm married. I mean, but we all kind of think, Yeah. I mean, not me personally, of course, but what prevents that guy from doing that?
That's $1 million question. Thanks for asking, Jason. Number one, we have a feature called gender preference feature. So a woman can only request a woman driver if they want to, and same way men, and so on and so forth. Then we have a color matching feature, so you don't get into a wrong car, if you will. So many of the incidences that happen, unfortunately, people got into wrong vehicle. So we have a color matching feature for that. The third one is we have artificial intelligence-based system called Deborah, and that monitors human behavior within the rides and for the driver and the rider both. We are working on more features, if you will, to make sure that we can provide better intelligence to both rider and driver of each other. As an independent contractor, drivers can choose to ignore any ride request. So I'm sure that as a driver with a rideshare, if you find somebody with not so clean outfit, if you will, or somebody holding a weapon, if you will, God forbid. So you're not going to go ahead and pick that person and say, okay, hey, buddy, come on in my car. You're going to be careful about it and think twice about it. So education is the key in this whole thing, that how can you educate people to do that. We understand that there are going to be men requesting the ride. And if a woman wants to give a ride to a man, that's fine. That's up to her. But we educate our women drivers as well to make sure that if they don't feel comfortable in a situation, like we do sexual assault prevention training for all of our drivers, that what do you do in a specific situation? That's one part of our onboarding process, that we train them that something happens. If there's a man who is drunk or touching you or doing something unwanted, then what you should do immediately. And so part of the training would help them to make a decision in those crisis time.
So you said that the rider can choose a gender preference, but the driver can't choose a gender
Both
preference.
Both can.
Oh,
Both
they can.
Both can.
Okay.
And then we have another feature called trusted driver feature. So like, for instance, if I've given you a ride and you like me, you will click on my name and I'll become your trusted driver.
Okay.
So you can make 5 or 6 trusted driver. And then you can say, okay, Syed, why don't you pick me up in the morning, every morning, and take me to my job? So your ride request would come first to me. If I'm not available, then it will go to Peter, if the Peter is the second trusted driver.
I love that.
And so on and so forth. So this way, now you're trusted. And if you have kids and you're trusting your driver or 2 or 3 drivers with those kids, then you can say, okay, can you pick up my kids and drop them home? And now you're sure that these particular drivers that you trust are doing that, not any random person.
Go, Pete, go. I know you have a minor question.
Yeah, so I guess that brings up kids. Both Uber and Lyft, which I've done, full time for the last 2 years, are, they say they're pretty strict about, no minors in the car. You're saying that you guys are okay with that. And then I guess the follow up to that question is, what kind of protections are in place for a driver that picks up kids and then somebody tries to claim something that, may or may not have happened?
That's a great question. So right now, we only allow kids with an adult, like a babysitter, a mom, or other person who's trying to go to school. Maybe in the future, we can look into specifically kids market to drop off. But right now, there has to be an adult in the car to do that.
Okay. That's good. You kept saying kids, and I was waiting for Pete to jump in because Pete has had so much trouble during the day with freaking kids. And when I say kids, I mean like 14 or 15-year-olds trying to catch a ride. So
right.
I would just wanted to clarify that. So
yep, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So this sounds really good. It's really re-energized me for rideshare. I haven't driven in so long because of this COVID thing, and then talking to you, I'm like, wow, they can favorite a driver or a trusted driver. Like you kind of have some features that are missing in the other companies' platforms, and so man, I really hope
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Look, we are creating a company with the feedback from people like you, Jason, Peter, and others. We want to know that we don't do mistakes. We don't want to be the global dominant player that is out there. We want to do right by our brand. We want to do right by our people that we serve. We want to do right by our mission. And that's very, very important to us. So serving less, but serving better is okay with us than serving millions and then having thousands and thousands of complaints every single day. It's not just simply the rider who feel unsafe in certain instances. There are so many cases that drivers, I'm sure you can relate to that, they've been put into a very unsafe situation. And even as men, you would feel like, oh my God, who I have in the backseat. And you're like conscious on the back of your head constantly during that ride. So we don't want that. We don't want that. This is workplace unsafety, if you will, just to create some bug. And I'm sure anybody who's driving for any rideshare, they are doing it because they want to meet the ends, right? They want to put bread on the table and they want to pay their bills and all that. So the goal is for us to create a really good, empowering experience for women. So we can give equal opportunities for them. We can give them the choice. So if they want to come with us and they want to ride with us and they want to drive for us, then they can do it without any fear of safety.
I think we have 3 more questions for you. Sure. My next one, I guess, are you guys operating right now in the middle of COVID? And if so, are you guys providing masks for the drivers, or what are you guys doing for driver safety?
That's a great question. So right now, as a rideshare, we're not operating, of course, because we want to be safe for everybody. However, we have partnered with nonprofit organizations like Mustard Seed in Orlando, other churches, various churches over there who provides food and supplies, sexual assault prevention, organizations. to either supply food or other stuff to wherever they are, wherever they want those things to be delivered at no cost. So we are trying to do our civic duty in this crisis to make sure that we can do right by our community by providing those delivery services at no cost to our target audience.
So you say at no cost. Are the drivers still getting paid then, or are they volunteering their time?
No. We're paying the drivers, and we are taking the cost for delivering the products.
That's great. Okay. That is great to hear. So what do you think your biggest challenge is for growing? I always wonder, I think it's a little different for you guys because you have a mentor program and the captain or whatever you call it. But like for Uber and Lyft to go into a city, I guess I don't understand what's the big holdup. Like just let them do it. Like there's not actually any physical things that go in the city. I know there's probably rules and regulations and those kind of things, but what is preventing you from just like, adding 10 cities in the next year?
Nothing. We are in the midst of raising funds, of course, because opening a city means you have to do advertising and marketing and all that part. Onboarding the drivers. We are building the teams. So with the help of this podcast, I would encourage anyone who wants to join us and who wants to come on board and help open us market. We welcome them. So yes, the goal is that as we are raising funds and closing our rounds, we want to open more and more cities in the U.S. We're getting significant demand from almost every city, from Michigan also, from Detroit as well. We got demands from Alaska, from North Dakota, from Seattle, from Dallas. Dallas, we have a huge market. LA, San Francisco. I can name almost every single town in this country. There are women who are approaching us either through Facebook or through our website and asking us when are we coming. Okay. So yeah, that's in the mix. We are hoping that the economy and the industry opens up soon, so we can become part of efficient community as it grows.
So, kind of piggybacking off that one, you were saying onboarding drivers. Kind of describe what the typical process is for a driver who's joining your company.
So it starts with downloading the app, registering with the app or through the website. But you get a call from us. And us means either from our office or from our captain. And the captain meets with you, sets up a time to meet with you for 1 hour to go over some of the safety stuff, to understand why you want to join us, to interview you in person. The sanity check in person, human sanity check, we want to do that. We don't want to have those incidences where people wanted for war crimes in Africa are driving for a rideshare in the U.S. for 4 years and then find, by the way, that person was wanted. We don't want that situation. So we meet with them. And then we do detailed background checks. And once everything comes aboard, we also do training, sexual assault prevention training, and we get them on the road. Now, every third week or fourth week, we send them a message to meet with them. And we throw small little get-togethers, pizza parties, where they can come and bring anybody they want to bring. And we talk about their families. We talk about our families. And that's how we want to make it. Otherwise, it's going to create a very corporate environment, which simply churns driver in and out, hoping that one day with autonomous, there won't be any driver needed.
Yeah, I don't know about Jason, but you kind of had me at pizza party. So
Pete and I are really round in the center.
I'm hungry too.
One quick little follow up, and then we'll wrap it up. What is going to prevent you from not becoming corporate? So if you add 10 cities, then you're going to have to. You're going to need to be, as you being the CEO, you're going to have a ton of people under you. I just always worry, like, I'm sure Uber started out small too. Well, maybe not. He had a lot of money behind him, but you just think of a smaller company, like even like a pizza, like Papa John's. You start out small, and then all of a sudden it just explodes, and then you kind of lose touch with your employees and your customers.
So that's always the risk. That's always the risk that any company. Google started with, we're going to change something and look at Google. Every company is there. I've been saying that our goal is not global domination. We don't want to become 150 countries company. or surveying 100 million people or 200 million people. I mean, even then, our model has to be focused at the grassroots level. Like, for instance, for our marketing, we're using localized blogs, localized newsletters, local mom blogs, platforms, instead of using mass media or putting money into, those mainstream media structures. Same with Captain's program. That's very grassroots level program for us, that a local person who knows that zip code better than anybody sitting in a headquarters runs the operation over there, owns the operations, and then drivers can relate to that person on weekly basis or monthly basis. And he or she is not part of the corporate. They are just part of the family and the community over there.
Well, Syed, I'm super excited about this. I'm glad we finally got it. We're able to connect, and I mean, I'm sure we'll be talking down the road. We'd love to get this in Grand Rapids. I know we're not the biggest market. We're probably Orlando size. I would think maybe. We would love to be.
We would love to be a part of your community. Thank you for your patience. I know we ran into difficulty early on. I think you guys are incredible people. Your podcast is an incredible podcast. I've heard so many great things about you guys. So I'm honored to be part of this podcast with you, and I hope that we can create this relationship, and on and off can give you updates about what we are doing and touch base outside of this podcast as well. But I will be sending you that article that I promised you. Take a read of it, and it's interesting. And I hope you guys and your families and your audience's families and everybody safe at home and remain healthy, and we all come out of it positively for the better of for a better future.
Yeah, thank you so much for the kind words, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.